the Dean of the Friars Club, Buddy Howe.
Bravo, bravo. You're rolling, buddy.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. It's my pleasure
Oh, the mic thing.
to welcome you here. I think this is one of the biggest crowds we've ever had at a luncheon. And I think this attests to the popularity of our guest of honor.
And, of course, the Toastmaster.
It's my pleasure to introduce the Toastmaster. Star of stage, screen, and television, now appearing at the Copacabana.
I don't need a plug. I'm a star.
Jack E. Leonard.
Thank you. I'll probably get athlete's foot now. Friends, welcome once more to the Eichmann trial. I want to tell you what a thrill it is appearing here and giving this luncheon in honor of one of America's great Americans, who's been doing my act for about 12 years now. I am here to make a citizen's arrest. I don't mind the guy doing my act, but the son of a bitch stole my head, too. Just heard from your mother, Don, Christine Keeler in California. And, Don, I want to say one thing nice about you, and it's going to hurt like hell, I'll tell you that right now. I've seen you around for a long time, Don, and for no particular reason. I mean it. You're laughing, but you're bugged. Please believe me, you little cocker. Don't touch me, I'm a star. I also want to thank Johnny Carson for creating a monster. You little son of a bitch, I'll take it right now. A wonderful kid. He's really a kind fella. He's got a heart of gold, all yellow. And I want to tell you, Don, it's going to be a very wonderful affair because we have a nice man here called Ed Sullivan who came up from down there to come up here to see you today. How do you feel, Ed? Was the ground cold this morning? I want to say I saw you on the Johnny Carson show and you replayed it. It's another stepping stone for you like it was for Skitch Henderson. I'm not going to say anything nice about you. I will, because, yeah, I know you don't cough on my lines, you little bastard. Who the hell are you kidding? The oldest sticks in the world got a lot of class words, a rented watch on every goddamn thing. We have some very important people here this afternoon. Now to go on with the show. Now, come on. Now we're going to start off this very wonderful trial. I presented to you to show that I'm a liberal because I fool around my maid every day. I want you to meet a nice young comedian who's been on Ed Sullivan shows many times. Not for much money, because he auditioned 17 times, 17 shows he did. Mr. Flip Paulson. Come on. I wish you a lot of luck, and I'll put my arm around you because I like you in that turtleneck because you look like a dark turtle. That's why I said it.
And I like you, too.
Thank you. It's always nice.
And when we take over, I'm going to look out for you.
Thank you.
Well, I don't know why I would... What do I have to say about Don Rickles? I like to be most explicit. I thought about it a couple of weeks. I've had time to think about it. And I thought that the The best way to express my opinion of Don Rickles would be to say, fuck Don Rickles.
Hold it. There it goes, folks.
Well, I like to say why I feel this way. And I have to say that Don has never said anything about me. Don has never made a negative remark regarding Flip Wilson. I mean, he knows that you guys will take that shit. But if I ever hear that Don Rickles said one word about me, I'll stand in the goddamn alley with a brick one night, and I'll dislocate his head. I'm going to be hiding there. Let me light a cigarette.
Here. You want the kind you want to fly around with, or just a regular kind?
He's fast. He's beautiful. You're going to make a hell of a father-in-law.
And you're going to make a hell of a little bastard, too, I tell you that.
I came up here to drop shit on him.
I'll accept that.
Well, I don't know. I don't have that much to say about Don. I like to conclude by saying, fuck Don and fuck Jackie Leonard, too.
Thank you, Reverend Martin Luther King. Just remember the words. Remember the words of Abraham Lincoln, who once said to his colored servant, "Stop that goddamn tap dancing and give me back my hi-hat." Oh, it's wonderful. I'm not kidding. It's a good show so far because I've been great. That's why it's a good show. No, I'm only kidding. Now it's with extreme cruelty. Sent to you a chap who has really come a long way in our business. I'm not kidding. He's a fat fella, wears all my old clothes, and he's a damn good comedian. I like a few nice soft words from our good friend, Friar Jack E. Vernon. Gee, that's great so far.
I don't care what anyone says, Don. I like you. So what if you're short with a bald head and a red neck and you don't give a heck what you're saying about people? So what if you insult everyone and you have no friends? And if Will Rogers would have met you, he'd have punched you in the mouth.
Good.
So what if you're vicious and rotten underneath that hatred? I know, this is all contrived stuff. I want to really express my own gratitude, Don. The first time I met you, I walked into your lounge, and I don't fool around too much because I'm married, but I was in Vegas by myself, and I met this lovely hooker. And like I say, I don't fool around too much, but she was real intriguing. So I don't like to go right to bed with a girl. I like to take her out and get to know a little bit. So I said, hey, let's go down and see Don Rickles. She said, great. And I went down there, and I never met Don, but he knew I was in the room, and I'm a little sensitive about my weight. And the first thing he said, we have a baby hippo here. Let's give the little fat slob a nice man. You know, things like that. Well, to put it mildly, I was, destroyed. And even the hooker wouldn't take money from me. And I thought about this for a long time, and I wondered, why did he do that to me? Because I really wanted that hooker. I can't remember ever wanting anything more than I wanted that hooker that night. I offered her $500. But she thought I was so repulsive after he destroyed me. And I said, gee, what a rotten thing to do. I know that's his act and everything. And then I thought about it, and I had this image of Don Rickles in my mind. And I said, I could always lose this weight. But what is that ugly bastard going to do with that face he's got? Of course, I don't mean that, Don. You are a nice-looking guy. If I had a head like yours, I'd have it circumcised. I'll tell you that. Oh, that's great.
You're right. He is a pox. Go ahead.
That's right. Circumcised. I never thought I'd see the day the Friars would honor a lounge act.
Great.
You stop hitting me in the knees, Jack?
I want you to know that you're a small hit.
Okay. Don, I really, you're one of the few guys that really makes me laugh, outside of Ed Sullivan. Mr. Sullivan, I still think you're pretty weird. And what can I say about Johnny Carson, the biggest pervert I ever met? I know, because I live in a building with a telescope and I could see his apartment and the things that go on in there. Well, you're going to have to use me on your show. I got a lot of movies. Don, in closing, I'd like to leave you with two words. One's a verb, the other's a pronoun.
Very good, kid. I want it to you very, very good, and I like those nice things you said about this nice fellow here today.
I met them, too.
I certainly met them because you're very sincere in your particular style of work. I mean, it's terrible. I lost like 70 pounds. I think it fell all over you. Doing a good job. See, all of a sudden I made this library. Notice this? Well, you better hurry up, Ed. The goddamn sun's going down. Anyway. I'm going to ask you to go up and make a speech. It's going to be difficult without a peg in your heart. I know that. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we ought to have a few words from the late Ed Sullivan.
Well, I did want to deliver a few words. Fuck you. You bald-headed bastard. You made your last appearance on CBS TV.
Well, if I did, you're getting killed tomorrow, I'll tell you that.
Wonderful to be here. And if ever the world needed comedy and a sense of humor and the great artist to deliver it, it's now. And certainly this array here of great comics represent the best of our country. Don, I'm delighted to be here. Sylvia sent you her love, and just great.
Ed, I certainly enjoyed your speech. You have a great delivery. It should be on the back of a truck. I want you to meet a fellow that has a late show. Been a big hit for many years. Last year he made a new deal. And now it starts out every night saying Johnny Carson presents NBC. his head what the hell he keeps turning down. You only want to be president. And neither does his wife Happy Bird. But anyway, I will say this. That's one of my... This is really stupid audience. Very stupid. Oh, they like to hear a lot of shit out here this afternoon. And I want a nice welcome for a fella that has suddenly done a swell job late at night destroying some of our finer comedians. And I'm sure he'll have something very pleasant to say about Don Rickles. Mr. Johnny Carson.
Thank you, Jack.
Oh, that's all right.
Fellow Friars and Don, our guest of honor. Like most of you, I've had this date on my calendar for about 4 weeks. And I realized at that time, and I realized it even more today when we showed up here, the direction that this luncheon was going to take. I realized that every performer was going to step up here and pay back Don for all the things he's been doing to us for many years. And I didn't want to take that tack today because it's a great temptation to zing him and put him down and to do him. But I've noticed that many fellows who come here who are not in the entertainment business, but each of these luncheons, go away and they've never learned anything more about the performer than that he is an entertainer. Nobody seems to be able to stand up and say anything of substance about the human being, the individual. I've known Don for about 8 years, and like most performers, Don has probably thousands of acquaintances, professional people that he knows. But he's also one of the people who has close friends, and I would imagine that Don could count his very close friends on the fingers of both hands, true? And by friends, I mean people that you can relate to, you can confide to, and realize no matter what you say that is going to be kept in confidence. And I like to feel that I am one, I don't want to speak for Don, that I am one of his very close friends. And I think that's important to Don, because queers need friends.
Wonderful. Holy Christ, what a build on. That's the greatest build on I ever heard in my life.
Let's get it out in the open. I'm happy to appear at this luncheon with Friars to honor Don, if it'll prevent him from becoming a member of this club. We got enough fags running around up in that place. Now, I don't want to leave you the impression today that Don was born with these tendencies. I'm sure that most of you know that sometimes people can be born with genetic construction that gives them homosexual tendencies. Other people become homosexual because of a traumatic experience in their life, and such is the case with Don. About 8 years ago, when I first met Don, now Don's early in his years, and yet he's bald. And yet when I first saw him, his entire top of his head was covered with thick, curly, black hair. He was going down on K. Armin. And that's enough to make Smokey the Bear turn queer. I know what you're probably saying. You're saying, all right, you say this, you stand up and you call Don Rickles a homosexual, but the man is married. So, in other words, how can you put the lie to what I'm saying? Of course he's married, but let's examine the facts. Don Rickles was married 3 years ago when he was 38 years old. The first time the man was ever married in his life. True? Now, you see what this is? This is the last-ditch attempt to prove your virility. Running around in a way saying, I'm virile, I'm virile. But I look at it this way. Any fellow who has to put platformate in his condom has got a hang-up somewhere along the line. Now, what's the one thing that a man can do in this world to prove his virility as manhood? That's for his wife to become pregnant, right? And sure enough, 1.5 years ago, Don's wife, Barbara, gave birth to a lovely child. And he ran around like a maniac, yelling, I'm a father, I'm a father. That's what he thinks. I'd like to discuss briefly artificial insemination. The great problem, there are only two reasons that people resort to artificial insemination. Either because the husband is impotent, or you're raising faggot. And the selection of the donor is most important in artificial insemination, because as the child grows older, the child should take on the personality and the attitude of the supposed father. So all I have to say to you, Don, is that next Father's Day, I suggest you get a gift for Joe Pine. Great. Now let's discuss Mr. Rickles, the entertainer. Once again, we have to separate fact from myth. Now, I've seen Don entertain, I suppose, 50 times, and I've always enjoyed his joke. But when you see Don's act, which incidentally has all the subtlety of an elephant's prick, people say, does he really ad-lib? You hear he's fast. It's sixth sense. On the stage is one thing, but what is he like among his peers, his comedians, when he's sitting around a table? I've been with him many, many occasions. Believe me, he couldn't ad-lib a fart after a Boston baked bean dinner. And now this schmuck wants to become an actor. 62 television appearances he's made this year alone. One was the star of a whole hour segment on A Run for Your Life, and word is going around that he may be up for an Emmy. Rickles is spreading the word mainly himself. It was a dramatic show, and I saw that particular episode. Dramatically, it was about as thrilling as watching Kate Smith take a douche. I wanted to come here and set the record straight at this luncheon. And seriously, folks, as Bob Hope always ends up saying, what I said before about close friends, I really mean. I've known Don for 8 or 9 years. And beneath all of the brashness that you see on the stage, to me, really, is an extremely sensitive man whose loyalties are very great. There's nothing he will not do for you if he's a friend of yours, and I'm happy to count him as a friend of mine.
Thank you. That was Johnny Carson, former English professor at the University of Nebraska. Boy, that's marvelous. And so I think we ought to carry on right now and present to you a very unusual type of a performer. He has been with the Smothers Brothers now for about 2 years, and they can say anything they want because they're in the first 10. And I would like to have this his first time in the day. It's a lot of pressure for a young fella. And I want a nice, happy kind of a Friars and gentlemen welcome for Mr. Pat Paulson.
I don't know which had the crap on. Well, that's mine. I guess I'm through. Well, I really want to say I've never been here before, and it is nerve-wracking. I just want to say that I think Don is really a great guy, and it's really not a marvelous guy, but he's a reasonably good guy. Just an average guy. He's nothing else. A little below average, probably. I think he's a fucking asshole.
This is a class performer.
I've actually known Don a long time. In fact, on Hollywood once I overheard a conversation between Don and another guy. Don was in the John, and apparently there was no paper. So he's banging on the door next door. He says, "Hey, buddy, you got any paper over there?" And the guy says, "No, I ain't got any." He says, "Well, have you got change for a pen?"
that been done here before? I don't know. No, Don, we've known each other. He used to come over to my house and eat chicken shit. Moving right along. I happen to dig pain, so Don has other things about him you don't know. He has a rather bad kidney problem. You can tell from his rusty zipper and his yellow tennis shoes. I think it seems to be flowing a little bit in that way. I think Don is probably the living proof of the desirability of the constant use of contraceptives in the home. I'd like to close off with the finger shadows. Precision tap dancing. I think you can't see him, but that's better. We're going to do some finger shadows for Don. First one is an abstract one we'll be living up at Seattle Pottery and Marijuana Festival up there. It's called Sunrise Along Potomac. It's a more realistic finger shadow. Man reaching for a piece of bread. Oh yeah, whoa, who is it? I like it. Fist with arm attached. There's index finger. Like that. Special one for Don. Here we have dog running after car. There's dog run over by car. Here's dog barking at cow. Dog barking at retarded cow. Dog humping Don Rickles. There we have dog with clap after humping Don Rickles. So that's it for me, and thank you. I want to thank you, Don. Great job. Yes, that's great.
Was he wonderful, huh? Let's have a nice big round of applause with that. You may not know, it's a lot of pressure being up here. It's the first time on this very wonderful thing. Lots of luck to you, kid. I really mean it. I think you ought to get out the goddamn business immediately. Well, here are a few words from William B. Williams from the old medium, radio. William B. Williams.
Thank you, Jack.
Oh, that's all right.
Donald. First of all, I am always amazed at the selection of the person to be honored at these stag luncheons. Another triumph in the selection of Mr. Rickles, who has all of the charm, all of the warmth of an unflushed toilet. I also made it a point to, and Jack himself mentioned the kind of startling resemblance between Fat Jack and Don Rickles. And I went back and I discovered, and you may find this kind of earth-shaking, but it's true. Look at the resemblance. They're both rather balding, little fat, and Jewish. They gentlemen are brothers. True. More than brothers, they were born twins. More than twins, ironically, they were Siamese twins at birth. But what was fascinating, they were not joined at the spine. Rather, they were Siamese twins joined at the cock. At birth. Dr. Meilerson, as a matter of fact, can attest to this. The doctor who delivered the Siamese twins, Mr. Leonard and Mr. Rickles, join at the cock, was obviously in great panic, and they didn't have time to divvy it up, as it were, because it wasn't a cock that was like 14 inches exactly. So the big problem in making the severance was who to make the bigger prick. Our guest of honor, he emerged victorious. And it played a role in Don's career. He's had rather a checkered career because he was very proud of the fact that he was one of the biggest pricks in show business. Until one day he happened to be stuck in Birmingham, Alabama. Went into the men's room there, and George Wallace, who I think, Flip, you'll agree, is one of our bigger pricks, was in the men's room, and Don looked over and said, "Oh my goodness, that is the biggest prick I've ever seen." And he turned to the governor, he said, "I beg your pardon," he said, "I know you're George Wallace. You have probably the biggest prick I've ever... How does one get a prick that big?" And George Wallace said, "You have to stick it in beans." And Don said, "Beans? Really? What kind of beans?" George Wallace said, "Human beings." I mentioned that Don's career has been a checkered one. At one point in his career, he was with Phil Spitali. He was Evelyn and the Magic Violin. He had to leave the band when they caught him trying to get the girl flutist in the band to blow Hava Nagila on his cock. Earlier, Johnny mentioned the kind of oral genital byplay that went on between Don and Miss Armand. This was not unique, this kind of byplay, with only Kay Armand. As a matter of fact, Don once in Vegas, at about 4 o'clock in the morning, was in the midst of going down on Zsa Zsa Gabor. While he was down there, he was heard to remark, "What a deep cunt, what a deep cunt." And Zsa Zsa said, "You didn't have to say it twice," and Don said, "I only said it once." I mentioned that Don works in Vegas, which he does. It is infrequent that he comes to New York. He does spend his time in Vegas. He's kind of Howard Hughes' live-in Jew out there. But I think the zenith of Mr. Rickles' career was when he went to Burbank out in California. And as you probably know, it is named after Luther Burbank. And Don, pursuant to that kind of thing, was interested in mutations and hybrid forms, and he worked for literally months on end. And he succeeded in doing something, gentlemen, I think you'll find brilliant. Don Rickles succeeded in crossing a French broad and a Chinese broad, and got a broad that sucks laundry.
That was my next joke. That was my next joke, you dirty bastard.
On that rather distinguished note, Mr. Rickles, I leave you in the hands of Mr. Leonard again.
May I say that William B. Williams is also available for Bible readings. Shocking. Don, how do you feel so far? You're full of shit. Now, a few very important words, my dear friend, Brother Friar Norman Crosby.
Thank you, Jack. Gentlemen, I don't know how you follow Bill Williams with all those words, but I don't normally do that type of thing. My presentation is more sincere, more dedicated, more astute. I am so delighted that Johnny Carson mentioned the other side of Don Rickles, not the performer, but the man, because I want to, delve into that area. Nobody thought to analyze why. What motivates a man to deviate from the normal, conventional, accepted type of humor and pioneer a whole new concept of insult and degradation? It takes a lot of courage. Some people say he's a pioneer. Some people say inventiveness. Some people say daring, nonconformity, perhaps. Nay, I know this man, friends. I know this man a long time. These are not the reasons why Don Rickles insults and puts down and probes into the weaknesses and exposes the frailties of man. Nay, he does it because he's a prick. He has not only developed a style, but an attitude that has affected mankind in general on Wilshire Boulevard before he was asked to leave the area. And a little old man, and I saw this coming out of his house, a grandfather with a beard and an old black coat taking a grandchild, a 5-year-old kid by the hand and walking on the street, and a little kid to look up to his grandfather. This is the effect this man has had on people. He said, "Grandpa, give me a nickel." And the old man said, "You don't need it." "What do you need a nickel?" "You don't need a nickel." He called him again. He said, "Grandpa, give me a nickel." He said, "You don't need a nickel." "What do you need a nickel?" 5 years old. "Just give me a nickel, Grandpa." He said, "I was your age. I didn't have a ruble." "What do you need a nickel?" "Don't bother." The kid said, "Give me a nickel, Grandpa, you cheap son of a bitch." And the old man stopped with tears in his eyes. Think about this, what you do to people. And he said, "Flesh and blood, a son from a son speaks to our father's father. Son of a bitch, you say to our grandfather. And then you got the nerve to ask me again for a nickel. Fuck you." Oh, it's not right. It isn't right. It shouldn't be done. I don't believe in that. I don't pick on people. I respect people with handicap. He criticizes. He looks for little openings, for weaknesses, and he stabs. If I have friends with afflictions, with impediments, I help them. That's the way I believe. I have a friend who stutters terrible. He has an impediment. I didn't pick on him. I don't make jokes. I took him to an electrocution school. I took him to a doctor that helps, people regulate their vowels. And that's right, I helped him. And I met him on the street several months later. I said, "How you come along?" And the doctor had told him to speak very, very slowly and very, very carefully. And this was the only way that he could possibly help himself. And he did it. Guys like you embarrass people like him. And I said to him, "How you doing, pal?" He said, "I'm doing well. I have a good job now, and I was engaged to be married." I said, "Well, I'm so happy about your job. What do you mean you were engaged to be married?" He said, "Well, it's kind of sad. I was sitting on my fiance's porch one night, and her dog was scratching his back. And I said to her, 'Barbara, won't it be wonderful after we're married, you can do that for me?' But by the time I got it out, he was licking his ass. You see, there's a reason. There's a reason, pal, for everything. And the reason that Don Rickles, honestly, picks on people is because show business is his life. That's the cue.
And Don picks on people, friends, for the same reason that the Friars Club chooses to pay tribute to a guest of honor and then invites people up here to tear him apart and destroy him. It's confusing. It really is. I know a little man who migratory to this country from another nation, and he was here a very short time. He was working on 7th Avenue in a dress place, and somebody asked him, you know, how do you like being over here in America? And he said, I can't understand it. I like it. It's a nice country, but it's upside down. It's confusing. Everything they do is backwards. Everything. I'm working in a place, got a fella, big fat, you know, like a big fat Otsky, a skinny Jackie Leonard, that type of fella. But Jackie Vernon together, put together, make a fat fella like this. Him they call Slim. Got a fella works with me, bald like an egg. I haven't got my hair. Him they call Coily. It's unbelievable. I'm working in, I'm a carder. I got a card the cloth, I got electric scissors, and they feed me cloth, and I card it. This is what I do. Sits on this side 6 girls, on this side 6 girls, and they stitch the cloth with the sewing machines. I don't look at them, I don't talk to them. They got the butts and the big, you know, the hips with the ass, and I don't look at them. What I care for that? I'm old, you know, I card the cloth, that's all. I pay attention to my work. Everybody in that place, but everybody. The janitor, the white president, the carders, the shippers, everybody. They fool with the girls, they pinch them, they touch them, they wink at them, they take them out, they give hump. I don't bother them. I don't even look at them. Me, they call the fucking Jew.
Close at that, pal. Close at that. Close at that.
I gotta say one thing.
Close at that, pal. Close at that.
One thing I want to say, Don, because we are good friends and because everybody loves you. If you must cast aspersions, if you must pick on people, if you must throw rocks, remember Jesus walking through the streets of Jerusalem, and he saw a crowd throwing rocks, and he stopped them. They were throwing rocks at a prostitute. And he said, whosoever be without sin, cast the first stone. From out of the crowd came one big rock, hit the hooker right in the head. Killed her. Jesus looked and he said, Mother, sometimes you piss me off.
Boy, this certainly is a classy affair this afternoon. Now, once again, we'll have a few boring moments from Dean Buddy Howe.
Don, today we honor you, not only because you're a great, great comedian and a wonderful human being, but you're a real pro. And strangely enough, the last week certainly proves that out. When Sammy Davis got sick at the Copacabana, couldn't talk, you rushed down there despite the fact that you were doing a television show, and you pinch hit for him both performances one day, for which Sammy was very grateful. 2 days ago, at the taping of the Kraft Music Hall, Art Carney became ill at 12 o'clock the day of the taping. The producers, Dwight Hemian and Gary Smith, talked to you. You jumped right in, did the show, and I want you to know today that they looked at the show last night, and it is hilarious. It will be on tomorrow night, and I think that's a real pro. That's a real friar. What do you say? Now, we at the Friars are very, very proud of you. We'd like you to have this little personal television set as a memento of this occasion. And now, gentlemen, Don Rickles.
First of all, gentlemen Friars, gentlemen of the dais, and I'm sorry, Flip, about the seating arrangement. Originally, they wanted you in the hall with a broom.
I do want to thank Buddy and the Friars for giving me my 10th portable TV set. All of which, as soon as you plug them in, they blow out. So to clear it right up now, it was definitely a cheap gift, which I won't forget. It's wonderful of Cab Calloway to come. I know your busy schedule, sitting on top of the Ziegfeld Theater trying to pick off Pearl Bailey. I kid Cab. He's not really a Negro. He's a mulatto. He thinks that's better. Look at the way the color kid around. He's right. Them mother mulattoes are trouble. I want to thank my great friend Ed Sullivan, as Jackie Leonard made reference about you passing away and so forth. Ed, I say from the bottom of my heart, really, you're not a well person. You need care and help. You dribble all over yourself. You wet your pants. Don't you think it's time for a checkup, Ed? How long can you walk around the street touching yourself and think this is normal, right? Man has one daughter, God bless her. Could have had a lot of children, but he has a cough that screws it right up. Spitting and hacking his way to fame. Let me put it to you another way, Ed. You're a pain in the ass. Will you ever Jap? He's a nice guy, Ed. I spent about 2 solid weeks with Ed in Las Vegas, planning activities, sitting in the pool, watching the ducks sink. One night we got him abroad, remember? Sylvia said it was okay. Then we all came in the room with the baby brownie. You sat on the floor and went, attack me, attack me. You gotta be a leper to want to sleep with him. I'd like to thank Johnny Carson for his busy schedule, one of our great Gentiles. Even though I'm a Jew and you're a Gentile, Johnny, I'd say this. His mother and dad are not here. They're not in New York either. They're on a little farm outside of Nebraska with a dump truck without a dime. Sitting there with torn underwear going, our Johnny's rich, our Johnny's rich. I'll tell you how classy he is. He takes a leak on his brother. Now that's class. Dick likes it. He said Dick likes it. Flip Wilson, you're a wonderful man. We kid about the Negro. That's my whole humor in my act. You know, Negro, I'm a Jew. Does it matter what you are? You bet your ass it matters. If you were white, you'd be over here next to that Sullivan instead of on the end watching the flies hit the Puerto Rican serving tray. I've had a lot of great afternoons in my career, and I will say very honestly, this will not go into the scrapbook. Boring, dull afternoon, really. Ed, your speech was great. He was shaking all over, and he doesn't make too many speeches. Thank you. And the gentleman behind you, thank him for sitting up there and taking up room. I don't know who that is, but he just kept leaning over and blowing in his ear, and Ed kept saying, hey, more. Maybe you'll get my arms to move. Horny Ed. Of course, William B. Williams, once again, you made a fool of yourself. Steve Lawrence is William B. Williams' whole life. That's what he wants Steve to do. Throw up on me, Steve. Make me a star. Of course, Jackie Vernon, I spoke to God, and they will have clay in Friday to fix your face. The last time he laughed is when his own family passed away.
You're all right, Jack. Good luck to you, really. I do want to say to Norm Crosby, I spoke to a lot of clinics, and if you do hear, you're liable to give up the business. So it's good with the gimmick in the ear. Gives you a mercy job, one of those real mercy jobs, like Tiny Tim. Who's not going to applaud him with the limp and the dragging and the death? Good gimmick, death. If they catch on to that, they got you blind. You come out with a cane and do songs. Some people say, how can you be cruel about these things? I laugh at life. I say to God, I don't give a damn. He goes, God put us on this earth to laugh. Right, God? If that ain't a stroke, a couple of color guys are going to hire a white man. And to all of us, my Negro friend, and I kid Cap, I know him a lot of years. Flip, it was sweet of you to come over here at the last minute, not even knowing who it was for. And to... I'll make you feel at home, Flip. All aboard! Put on the puppy with a stocking. Yeah, you got it. Take your hand. Well, somebody kick Ed in the ass. He's dozing off. Ed keeps looking up like we're going to put a hook in his lip and we're going to be a salmon. When I first met Ed, right? Looks like a Jewish puppet. A little cord on the tuchus, and you pull it and he walks around. Hit the target and win a cookie. But I would like to say it's sweet of my cousin, Dr. Griboff, and the rest of my family, Jerry Rickles and Jerry Braunstein, who are in the back, in the toilet, right next to the Puerto Ricans' quarters, Wayne and Schuster, who I don't know, and 7 other fat guys right in the front. I think the seating arrangement was embarrassing. To the manager, Joe Scandori, Joe, I say this publicly. As of today, I found out how big I am. You and I are no longer together. You have screwed me enough, Joe. I never liked the Italians. What do you think of that? And what are you going to do without the Jews and the Negroes? No rhythm or money. But we need the Italians. For what? Oh, yeah, ISIS. Anyway... That wasn't a stop. Johnny's laughing, and William B. Williams, the Jew, took his wallet. I'll tell you this, guy. And you still got that Chester Morris, Joe? But anyway, I owe a great deal to Johnny Carson for giving me an opportunity on nighttime television. I'm forever grateful for that. Really, I mean that. I owe nothing to Ed Sullivan except he's been annoying trying to hang out with me. I was supposed to be on his show. Unfortunately, my bear died. Got a stock? Got a stock here, right? Once I did the balancing of the dog. Any guy that talks to a little tojo with a mouse needs help, Ed. I'll tell you that right now. Some shock treatments. Anyway, it's been an exciting afternoon for me. I'm going to rush right back to the hotel and try to explain this to my wife, who, well, if you knew her, you'd understand. She's the type on the wedding night looked at me and went, is that about it? So, you know what I'm up against. But I certainly want to thank you. I know, Johnny, you have a show tonight. Why? Anyway, gang, Johnny is on. What's the movie? Must be a good movie on. Lyle Talbot and I'll Suck a Werewolf. Anyway, gang. So watch Johnny Carson's show, watch Jackie Leonard at the Copacabana running around the lobby going, Anyway, gang, Jack, they make many jokes about me with you and so forth, but I say this publicly and from my heart. I will always respect you and always be proud that your humor was a great deal of help to me, and we make jokes about you being me and what have you, and or I trying to be you. But we are 2 individuals, and I'm very proud to call you friend. And you were a tremendous host today, and it made me feel warm and good inside. Jackie Leonard. To all of you gentlemen, I have never been so honored. I am deeply thrilled. On behalf of my wife, Barbara, my little girl, Mindy Beth, God bless her, who is 19 months old, I say thank you for making me appear I say thank you for making me feel important. And my one wish in life, I wish my father were here with me now to see it. Bless you.